Hi everyone, welcome to VRC with Gaurav. In this video, we'll take a very good look at passage number 69 from the book RC 99 by Aristotle Prep. So before we begin, I have compiled a glossary for you of the important and the good words from the passage. A few unusual words have been used in the passage, such as reconnaissance, juxtaposition, and a few others. I've jotted down their meanings for your usage. Okay. I would recommend that you pause this video here, read the entire passage, and then move along with me to the explanation now and then the questions. Okay. So taking a brief look at the passage first, we'll go through this passage a couple of paragraphs at a time. The passage is an absolute delight to read. Why? Because the author has written about a fairly abstract topic, art, painting, but written it in a language which a layman like us can understand. Okay. So starting off with the first two paragraphs, the author has drawn a really good analogy between the job of a painter and that of a commander-in-chief, that of a general involved in a battle. Okay. And the author is very happy, very positive while discussing this thing. Okay. There is absolutely not a single touch of uh, condescending attitude or negative words used anywhere. Rather, the tone of the author is coming out really nicely over this. He has used the word delights and such. Okay. So what does he use here? He's saying that in both the roles, that of a commander-in-chief and that of a painter, the skill to observe is going to get tested a lot. Okay. Um, your skill to observe surroundings or where your job chiefly is. For example, a commander-in-chief's job is involved with the battleground. The better he surveys the battleground, its ups and downs, its uh, layout, everything, the better he will be able to fight the battle. Similarly, the better a painter surveys his subject, the scenery out there, or whatever he wants to paint, the better his end result will. And he has written there it very clearly that if you do it with a lot of refinement, if you observe accurately, then the end result on the canvas, that is the painting, will come out exactly the way you want it to be. Okay, but the condition that the author is putting in here is that you do your job with a lot of focus, with a lot of keen eye. Okay, focus on details. Okay, all right. Moving ahead, then for the third and the fourth paragraph, here the author has again taken a very mature approach and telling us that it's not just enough to apply your own brains. A good commander, a good general will study what the previously successful commanders have done on maybe the same battlefield or maybe in other battles. So similarly, a good painter should go and take a look at the masterpieces created by other masters before him. Okay. So that is why he's recommending that, okay, please go to Europe, please go to their art galleries and study how previous masters have done their job. And when you do that, or when the painter does that, what will happen? Not only is his observation skill going to get improved, he will also come out with a far better, far more detailed understanding कि अच्छा यार masterpiece किसे कहलाते हैं. Okay, what actually makes an art a masterpiece? You'll get an understanding. So all in all, in the third and fourth paragraph, author is saying कि अपने से बेटर वालों को स्टडी करो, उनको विजिट करो, समझो, तो ऑटोमेटिकली आप बहुत सीखोगे, आपका भी गेम इंप्रूव होगा. In this case, the game being your ability to comprehend and paint. Okay. Then in the last two paragraphs comes the most important opinions of the author. अभी तक का तो narrative basic था, पहले चार paragraph. In the fifth and sixth paragraph, actually, this is where the author moves into top gear. He is saying कि there is one very important thing जो decide करती है कि आपका final outcome कैसा होगा. So in a battle, the ability of the general to use reserve forces, that is what matters a lot. What is meant by reserve? थोड़ा सा background knowledge I would like to give you here. हमें मूवीज वगैरह में दिखाते हैं that war battle क्या होता है कि एक साथ बहुत सारे सोल्जर भाग रहे हैं, एक दूसरे से लड़ रहे हैं, all that stuff. That is not how battles are fought. Okay, the general deploys a particular section at a time to go for battle, and maybe the survivors they come back. Okay, and his job is to deploy resources at the appropriate time in the appropriate direction. And all throughout this time, he doesn't use all the resources at his disposal. Always there is a very strong reserve force kept. In case of an emergency or in case some sudden requirement comes in, then that reserve force is deployed. Okay, maybe some battle is at a turning point, nearing its end, and you need to give that extra push. So tab the general deploys his reserve forces. Okay, so that is what the paragraph is telling us over here, that a general's ability to deploy this reserve force at the correct time in the correct direction, that is what matters a lot. If it deploys it in the wrong way, तो फिर तो यार उसका गेम ओवर, उसका जॉब खत्म है, उसके बाद में देन इट इज एंटायरली अप टू लक. ओके, इफ ही थ्रोज ऑल इन हिज रिसोर्सेज, देन द कमांडर्स पार्ट इज प्लेड. उसके बाद क्या होगा, ही हैज नथिंग एल्स टू गिव, ही इज लेफ्ट टू लक. एंड रिजल्ट क्या होगा पता नहीं. ओके, एंड जनरली ही सेज कि आपका ये आखिरी रिजर्व फोर्स में सही डायरेक्शन नहीं मिला, सही लीडरशिप नहीं मिली, तो व्हाट विल बी द एंड रिजल्ट? यू विल हैव the result with this effect not having any effect, basically useless. And he takes this analogy to painting also, कि आपके जो reserves है when it comes to painting, what are those? Very nicely the author has jotted that down, the proportion or relation. Okay, if you are able to balance this out properly, then your artwork is going to, go down the road जहाँ पे greatest आपको शायद masterpieces मिले. And the author has used the amazing word over here, greatest harmonies in art, greatest harmonies in thought. Okay, so if the painter balances this two, then the end result is going to be awesome. Otherwise आपके पास में कितनी भी गर्दी क्यों ना रहो, कितनी भी जनता क्यों ना रहो, कितने भी आम आदमी क्यों ना रहो, in a battle you cannot win it. Okay, the author has used it, mere masses count no more. ठीक है, if you have civilians in a battle, even if you have millions of them, what use are they? The same thing in painting, even if you have the largest brush or the brightest colors on your palette, doesn't matter. If your proportion or relation is blown. ठीक है, towards the end, थोड़ा सा I thought for me intriguing, थोड़ा सा curiosity जगाने वाला opinion दिया है author ने. He has said that as far as the color spectrum is concerned, black and white are polar opposites. Okay, you all know that basic common knowledge. And author is saying कि ये जो दो लिमिट्स है, इसके बीच में सारा का सारा गेम होता है, सारा पेंटिंग happens. But the thing to keep in mind here, the author's opinion is very opinionated. He seems to be very opinionated regarding this black and white thing. He says that na black or na white alone are ever used in a pure format. Okay, they are never used neat. So इस neat का जो interpretation है, what we have to take is that black या फिर white always have to be used in some kind of combination with other colors. Okay, you cannot have them being used purely on the dark color. ठीक है, okay. So थोड़ा सा curiosity यहाँ पे जागती है. A good reader starts thinking कि क्यों ऐसा बोल रहा है author. Then going ahead, the author is saying कि अगर आपने सिर्फ black और white को भी एक साथ रखा ना, he has used a very good word over here, juxtaposition. इसका meaning I have explained in glossary. Please go through. Even when they are juxtaposed with each other, the author is not happy with the outcome. He says यार ये ना कुछ दम वाली बात है. It doesn't make any good impression. Okay, थोड़ा सा strong opinion of the author is coming over here. Okay, author is saying कि आप सिर्फ ब्लैक और व्हाइट को यूज करो और आजू बाजू में रखो पेंटिंग में, कोई खास मजा नहीं आता है. ओके ओके, फेयर इनफ. So to round off the passage, the author has drawn a very good, sweet analogy between a general's job and a painter's job on the canvas. Okay, so he says that कि जितना ज्यादा ऑब्जर्वेशन अच्छा करता है एक जनरल, जितना अच्छा ऑब्जर्वेशन एक पेंटर करेगा खुद के सब्जेक्ट का, उतना अच्छा एंड रिजल्ट होता है. You should also study your previous masters, previously successful people, and also use the resources at your disposal very smartly. Have proportion, have balance in your painting, and then you will have a really good masterpiece at the end. And a very curiously weird opinion at the end. Weird is also a wrong word, pardon for the usage. But ठीक है, unusual opinion at the end is कि black and white pure format से कुछ तकलीफ लग रही है author. Okay, all right. With this in mind, let's go and take a look at the questions. The questions are really well framed questions. Author is saying कि अगर commander in chief है, तो what the commander in chief is to the battleground, तो फिर बताओ यार painter is to what होगा. ठीक है, So option C, D, or E are very absurd. You should be able to reject them out at the very outset. A and B are where you can be have a situation where you are a bit confused कि इसमें कौन सा select करें, ठीक है? So I'll give you the solution for breaking this deadlock. A commander in chief, what does this guy do? He surveys the battleground. Okay, so you have commander in chief, surveys, researches, reconnaissance करता है कहाँ पे? बैटल ग्राउंड या फिर बैटल ग्राउंड ऑफ द बैटल ग्राउंड. ओके, तो सिमिलरली आप ये सेम एनालॉजी लगाओ कि पेंटर सर्वेस व्हाट. तो डज द पेंटर सर्वे द कैनवास ऑफ द पेंटिंग? डजंट मेक सेंस, राइट? डजंट मेक सेंस एट ऑल. सर्वे करना होगा आपको आपके सब्जेक्ट का. मे बी इफ यू वांट टू पोर्ट्रे द सनसेट विद द माउंटेन्स एंड द बर्ड्स, रिवर्स, व्हाटएवर नेचुरल सीन, तो उसका जितना ज्यादा आप ऑब्जर्वेशन करोगे उतना बेटर होगा ना आपका आउटकम. दैट इज व्हाट द ऑथर हैज सेड ओवर हियर इन द second paragraph very clearly. That is why here the answer has to be option A and not B. Okay, because it doesn't make any sense to survey the canvas. The canvas is a blank. Okay, all right. So I hope with this that you have understood the first question, and if you had any kind of doubt between option A and B, it's broken now. Okay, so let's go quickly ahead without any further delay. Question 2 is amazing. All the three questions actually are really good for this passage. The level was also very good. Not difficult, but it will test your clarity. Okay, so here some extra info is coming in. In this question, author is saying that there is some master painter Manet. Okay, so following this master's example, you have a young painter Matisse. Okay, what does he do? He uses white and black contrast in his paintings quite a lot. Okay, often uses white and black in contrast with each other. He's using some white objects like tablecloth, black object like a knife in the same painting to throw contrast here and there. Okay, okay, all right. So what is the relevance of this information in the passage? Very strongly related to the last paragraph, or rather the closing remarks of the author. हमने अभी discuss किया that the author does not seem to be quite happy with black and white का pure usage. Okay, he says that they are never used neat. Even if you contrast them with each other side by side, the end result is not that good. तो कहीं ना कहीं इस पर से you should be able to infer that this is going against the author. Okay, तो एक बात तो पक्का है that option E को आप immediately throw out कर सकते हो. Why? Because it is saying कि this information has no relevance to the passage at all. Oh come on man. Okay, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. चलो ठीक है. ऑप्शन बी भी बिल्कुल नहीं होगा क्योंकि हमने अभी डिस्कस किया कहीं ना कहीं इट इज गोइंग अगेंस्ट द ऑथर्स थॉट प्रोसेस. दिस गाय इज इंटेंशनली यूजिंग दिस ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट एंड द ऑथर सेज बिल्कुल यूज मत करो, अच्छा काम नहीं निकलेगा. ठीक है, ओके, तो बी इज आल्सो आउट. व्हाट आर वी लेफ्ट विद देन? ऑप्शन डी आल्सो गेट्स थ्रोन आउट, although it is saying that it weakens the author's claim, but then आगे का जो part है nature as the subject blah blah blah, absolutely nowhere the focus, the context of this question. Okay, we are focused on the black and white wala scenario. Nature wala thing has nowhere come into play here. So add you to option D as well. So what are we left with? We are left with option A and C. Both are really good actually. Okay, makes you think for a while, makes you pause for a while. ठीक है. ऑप्शन ए एक बार का आप सोच भी सकते हो that it supports the author's claim that great artists are worthy of imitation, because over here in the third paragraph and the fourth one the author is actually recommending कि आप जाओ बड़े आर्टिस्ट का स्टडी करो, आपको समझेगा कि मास्टरपीसेस कैसे बनते हैं and all that stuff. But there is a slight problem over here. The question is absolutely focusing on the black and white wala scenario. Okay, also if you dive a bit deeper, or never is the author saying imitation करो बड़े painters का. No, कहीं ना कहीं the author is suggesting study those paintings, draw good lessons from them, but nowhere is he implying कि उनके art को आप imitate करो, their art is worthy of imitation. Absolutely not. So on that count this option becomes very weak as the candidate. On the other hand, let's analyze what option C says. It is saying that it supports the, sorry, my bad. It weakens the author's claim, what? That black and white themselves placed in juxtaposition. Okay, so far so good. They make no great impression. Okay, so option C basically बस यही बोल रहा है कि it goes against author's thought process of using black and white together. Okay, author कहता है कि black and white आपने आप use करो तो आपका end result कुछ खास नहीं रहेगा. You will have something lame. And what is happening in Matisse का painting is clear cut आपको दिया है. The end result is something striking. The contrast is striking. Now keep in mind this word is a very positive usage. Okay, it's not negative, it's not neutral. If you say that somebody is a striking, somebody has a striking personality, it's a solid compliment. Okay, so definitely it is going against the author's opinion कि end result lame रहेगा. Question is saying नहीं, end result यहाँ पे बहुत अच्छा है. That's why option A gets kicked out. Anyway, it was very weak, and the answer that emerges is option C. Okay, so this is how we are supposed to analyze each option step by step, word by word. Okay, a lot of times we will zero in on two very good candidates for the answer. The one which gets rejected at the end, a lot of time 80-85% of the option will be amazing. Poor fellow gets kicked out only because maybe one or two words are not justified. Okay, just like here in this case, imitation is not justified at all. Okay, so with that, let's move to the next question. I hope that this one is clear to you. Please read the third question. What does it say? It says that it has paraphrased the author's statement all over again from the closing remarks of the fourth paragraph कि जो आपके रिजर्व ट्रूप्स है अगर उनको ठीक से डायरेक्शन नहीं मिला in the absence of good direction, what is the end result? They get confused, they get messed together, it's a mess, no order, no plan, and consequently no effect at all. So effectively, this statement is saying if there is no direction, it leads to chaos, and the end result is poor. The result is lame, poor, maybe even a failure. Okay. So in this situation, the question is asking when the author is saying this, what is he assuming? Okay. Excellent question. In all assumption question, we have to apply negation test that we all should know at this juncture. Okay. Assumptions में क्वेश्चन जहां पे भी आपको क्वेश्चन आता है व्हाट इज द करेक्ट assumption, यहाँ पे थॉट प्रोसेस हमारी थोड़ी ट्विस्टेड हो जाती है. इफ यू थिंक दैट ऑप्शन थर्ड ऑप्शन इज द आंसर, पकड़ के चलो. तो हाउ डू यू चेक वेदर यू आर राइट और नॉट? तो थर्ड ऑप्शन का निगेशन करो, नॉट सी. ओके, एंड देन चेक व्हाट हैपेंस टू द ओरिजिनल आर्गुमेंट, ओरिजिनल ओपिनियन ऑफ द ऑथर. If the author's opinion gets destroyed, then yes, your answer option C is correct. If the argument does not get destroyed with negation C, then you are going wrong. Please change your answer. Okay? So with that, the appropriate way to go about analyzing the options here is option A, B, C, D, E आप पढ़ो, but after that also think कि उनके negated versions क्या होंगे. Okay? तो यहाँ पर for the sake of brevity, I will be a bit quick with the option elimination job here. Options B and D should immediately get kicked out because यहाँ पे ये बात कर रहे हैं an artist or a painter being able to or not able to work with somebody else. That is nowhere the focus of discussion. Discussion ये है कि जनरल ने सही डायरेक्शन नहीं दिए खुद के ट्रूप्स को, तो एंड रिजल्ट खराब है. सिमिलरली एक पेंटर ने सही से खुद के रिसोर्सेज यूज नहीं किए तो उसका एंड पेंटिंग खराब होगा. तो दूसरे पेंटर्स, कोलैबोरेशन, टीम वर्क, ये कहीं भी फोकस में नहीं है फिलहाल. ठीक है. ऑप्शन सी थोड़ा लगता है ठीक, बट व्हाई इट स्टार्ट्स फोकसिंग ऑन मेंटल स्टेट, रिफ्लेक्टेड द मेंटल स्टेट, blah blah blah, not an appropriate focus here. We are strongly concerned with the assumption here. So C also gets kicked out. That leaves out A and E. Start doing by negation of A and negation of E. Option E also you should be able to eliminate properly because it is taking the statement way too literally. That troops always need someone to guide them. Okay, even if that is true, but that is not the overall purpose here. Okay, analogy, metaphor में काम चल रहा है पूरा का पूरा. Even though the author is talking about battlefield का situation, end messaging उसका पूरा का पूरा artwork painting को लेकर है. ठीक है. So option E is in unnecessarily, focusing on troops needing always someone to guide them, blah blah blah. कहीं ना कहीं way too close to the premise actually. So we'll hold it. It seems pretty weak actually. Let's take a look at what option A means and what its negated version implies. Okay. So option A, I'll read out to you first. Option A क्या कहता है? Chaotic painting cannot have an unintended artistic effect. Okay. पढ़ने पर थोड़ा सा twisted है. Let's try to analyze इसका negated version कैसा होगा. So not A will read something like this. I'll throw out this not over here because two negatives make a positive. Okay, so negated A reads something like chaotic painting can have an artistic effect. बस यही है कि वो artistic effect intended नहीं है. Okay, आपने सोचा भी नहीं, इरादा भी नहीं था आपका, but yes, आपको एक अच्छा artistic effect मिल गया है, even though the situation was chaotic. Wow, it goes exact opposite to the author because what does the author says? Chaos है तो आपका end result lame रहेगा. और ऑप्शन ए निगेटेड ए क्या कहता है कि नहीं केओस है फिर भी एंड रिजल्ट आपको बहुत बढ़िया आर्टिस्टिक इफेक्ट मिल रहा है. ओके, गोइंग बैंग अपोजिट टू द ऑथर एंड्स अप डिस्ट्रॉइंग हिज आर्गुमेंट, हेंस इट बिकम्स योर आंसर. ठीक है, so with that option A becomes your solid candidate as the assumption. In the face of a very weak E, you can go with option A with a lot of confidence. ठीक है. Please rewatch the third question का explanation if it seemed a bit dicey, if it seemed a bit difficult to you. Assumption questions do tend to be a tricky nut to crack. Okay, don't be overwhelmed by those. Think logically, go step by step, apply the negation test properly. Please read up on negation test if you don't know what it is, and you will understand how to crack assumption questions. Okay. All right. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you had a good time with this passage. See you in the next video.